my brother. It's my good friend Mark, man. My brother, man, what's going on, man?
Man, trying to make it do what it do.
I know that's right, man. One day at a time.
Yeah,
That's all we can. That's all we can do, man. That's really all we can do. Just kind of gravitate and lean on each other, and kind of find out different things and different things that'll help us out along the way on this journey, man.
all right, yeah. So real talk.
That's
How was Mother's Day? Let me start with that first. And there's a reason why I want to start with that, and we'll kind of go into it.
Yeah, Mother's Day was really good, man. I got the time to see my moms, my grandma, my auntie. Those three women right there, man, really raised me and really showed me a lot about life, man. I am the person I am because of them today. Without them, I don't feel like I'd be in the position I am. Um, just listening to their skills and listen to what the walks of life they've been through. And it was a special day, man. I cried my butt off, because I'm thankful to have all those three women in my life. And like I said, I literally cried, man. But it was just good to see all of them in good health, good wealth, and just being around their energy kind of like helped me to come back here and just kind of like soak everything in on why life is important. So it was good, man. It was good, man. I know you were traveling, brother. Tell me about your Mother's Day. Like
Well, this Mother's Day was hard, and it's not like my mother is dead. I mean, we're about to have a real conversation, right?
Right.
And you and I kind of touched on this, but I'll get a little bit more deeper into it. I haven't talked to my mother in 2 years.
Mm.
Yeah. And it's a toxic relationship, you know. But therapy, I thought therapy was really going to get me through it. It didn't get me through it this Mother's Day. I actually went into isolation, which is something totally I never do. But this one was totally different for me. I don't know if it was something on TV. I know somebody didn't say anything because I was on Do Not Disturb the whole day. I knew I was going to go into meltdown. And that's actually what I did. The good thing is, I didn't do what I normally do, go to alcohol and pills.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Reason why? Because I didn't bring the pills with me. But if I would have had them with me, I would have done that. Did I feel comfortable talking to any of my boys? No. I didn't.
Moment.
Say what?
That's a tough spot for you.
It is. Yeah. And you know why, but it's a real, it kind of takes me back to the whole mother-father abandonment piece, which is why my whole mental is sometimes up and down. It was rough. That day I actually felt abandoned. And if I could have called my therapist on Sunday, I would have actually done that.
Wow. Just to be able to kind of unleash some of the things that you've been struggling with, man.
Yes.
That's very important, man. For the people out there, man, if you have a therapist and you're going through tough times, man, like definitely call your therapist, man. Just hit them up and give them a text message or something. Say, hey, I need this at this certain time, or I just need to be able to talk. That's very important.
Right. But it's I find peace in talking to you sometimes and some other people as well. It's where God brought y'all into my life for a purpose.
Oh yeah.
So my homeboys who were there, I really can't even talk to them anymore because they don't understand it. And we don't have those stories that we share with each other. But with you and a few other people, we share those stories. So my comfortable level with you has totally changed. Like that conversation we had a couple of days ago where you had to pull the car over.
Right.
You know what I'm talking about? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, the abandonment and how it plays on you mentally. And I realized for me, I'm tired of being strong. Yeah, I am. It's to the point where I can't even do it anymore.
It takes a lot of energy. I'm gonna be honest and transparent with you. It takes a lot of energy to be strong. A lot, you know what I mean? And it's just it's tough, man.
Right. Now somebody in the chat asked me, can I elaborate on?
Yeah, I see that.
I'm only going to do so much because it's not fair to her. You know what I'm saying? It's just that she had me at a very, very young age. and my real father wasn't around. So the relationship, I'm not going to say that she didn't love me. She did. She didn't know how to love me, if that makes sense. The nourishment or, the nurturing that I should have gotten, I got in the street. And I tell people all the time, the first time I ever heard somebody say that they love me, it wasn't from my mother. It was from one of my homeboys at Fort Bragg, North Carolina, Lake in the Pines apartment 2B.
Wow.
I can remember that, like it was yesterday. That was the first time somebody ever told me that they loved me and just what it did to me.
Yeah.
She wasn't a bad woman, but she just didn't know how to love her child.
Right.
It's okay. Well, no,
It is.
it's not okay. It's
I'm,
not. I'm damaged goods if that's what you want to say.
I mean, I get it, man. I get it. So, a lot of people wouldn't get that, different upbringings, man. A lot of people have different upbringings, and people were, my mom's was different. You know what I mean? So I
Yeah,
just
I know.
I feel for you, my brother. You know what I mean? I feel for you, and working on this hurdle in life. You know what I mean? One of the things that you have to pray on and really like take a step back and just really see what's what, the good, the bad, weigh all that out, and just try to figure out what's going on for your next move.
Yeah,
That's
and I agree. But my grandmother was there. She had, the soulful girls. It was 4 girls. They all had different personalities. My mother was the youngest, so having me at 17, I became my grandmother's son. And we know today that's still true fact for a lot of people in the
right.
world. My grandmother made sure that I had, sent my mother to do what she had to do, and that was go to school. Like, you're going to take care of this child. But
Yeah.
until then, I'm going to send you to school. But what I missed along the
The
way,
way. Yeah.
what it did was I started to hold in all those emotions. And you and I had this conversation. I was angry, And here I am at 50 years old realizing what was going on. Like, yo, I need to go to therapy because this is really weighing me down. And I will share this. I can remember the last day when I got off the phone and I said, I'm done. I can't do this
Yeah.
anymore, you know? And I,
Literally.
and I went to the delete block, even though I knew the number from heart. You know what I'm saying? But it was like, I can't do this anymore. It's messing up my relationships. It's
Yeah.
messing up everything across the
Around me.
board. Still no therapy. I was at, why do I need to go to therapy type of situation? I'm going to handle it how I'm going to handle it as well. And realizing that here I am being a strong one,
Oh man.
family and friends, as they say, being that grown man, and
Right.
you ain't being that grown man. I'm
That's
struggling all the way.
that's true, man. And that brings me on to a question, man. Like, you know, why do we struggle to talk about mental health? Why do we struggle? Like, why is there such a stigma on that? Like, why do we struggle as men? Like, literally.
Because one, no one talks about it in our house. It's what happens in my house stays in my house. That's one. Men, we always have to be that dominant force, but we have to be masculine.
Right.
2, we don't. 3, we don't want people to judge us. Judgment for us means a lot. How other people see us in the street, that's impactful for us.
Yeah.
So certainly don't want our boys to look at in a certain way. We definitely don't want the girls to look at us being weak. So we just hold everything in,
Everything. Yeah.
everything in. And the next thing you know, we explode. And I saw myself going down that pattern.
Yeah, man. It's tough, man. I really think it's tough about going through every day, like trying to be able to like hold stuff in, and you keep putting on everything in the back burner every day, man. And it's just like, man, I need to let this stuff out. I need
Right.
different ways to be able to kind of let this steam go off. You know what I mean? And there's plenty of ways to be able to cope with, you know what I mean, this mental struggle, man, the mental health struggle. And I know for me, one of the ways that being able to talk to you, bro, being able to talk to you, uh, being able to go hit the weights, go be able to work out to clear my mind,
Right.
being able to be in nature, man, being able to see like the birds chirping, and or hear the birds chirping, or just smell the fresh cut grass, man. You know what I mean? Like, you ever just go outside and just, like, when your grass is cut, you just smell the grass, man, and that just, like, it just does something to me. It just, like, just helps me in a way that my mind is like, man, this grass smells so good. It just takes my mind off a lot of stuff. It just
For me, it
takes a
ain't
lot.
fresh cut
It
grass.
just takes a lot off my mind, you know.
Right, it does. For me, I think this year, the whole COVID situation, it made me sit back and just see what was going on and say, hey, I need to deal with these particular issues. But
Right.
also, I did something that I haven't done since, wow, probably college. I
Yeah.
start walking, you know, kind of walking and music start clearing my mind. And I'm walking through my community just realizing, wow,
Yeah.
how beautiful it is. That grass thing you can have. Me and grass have a love-hate relationship. but
No, man.
but everything else was good. You just like, woo, I got a chance to just clear the air. And I didn't care what anybody was thinking. This was the first time when it was like, I'm going to now be an advocate for myself. And once I started doing that,
Yeah.
then the therapy on top of that, it's kind of like the doors began to open up to where I'm at peace. But I just don't know why this Mother's Day, now that I've been in therapy for a couple months, was the hardest one for me. I just don't understand that.
Maybe it's a barrier that you're trying to break.
It is, and I know what needs to happen, but it's going to have to take a joint effort. I'm doing the work.
Yeah, maybe I feel like it definitely is one of those about to break, man. And when you break that, man, you can go a long way, man. You're already a long way, but it just helps to clear everything else out, along the
Yeah,
way.
I agree.
Yeah.
I definitely agree. Years ago I wouldn't have been able to do this or even talk about it.
Right.
So I know that therapy works, because if it didn't work, we wouldn't be even having this conversation. So I'm kind
No.
of glad that it definitely works. And sometimes when you and I get into those in-depth conversations out of nowhere, you know, it's like, wow, you know,
Yeah.
me, I just throw something at you real quick and we just have a conversation, you know?
Right. No, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Man, I will open up to last year, man. I had a tough time. I'm recently divorced, you know what I mean? Going through different thoughts in my head, different thoughts in my mind about, like, contemplating about football and all these life decisions going on along the way, thinking about my son, like, how is he gonna be? How is this affecting him in a way? And um, last year, and on top of that, I got injured last year.
Right.
A lot of those things, like, took apart in 2020, man. And I'm on top of COVID too, and all the stuff that we had to handle and maneuver and test, and every little thing you could think of last year hit. You know what I mean? It hit like
All at
smack,
once.
like, you know
Once.
what I mean, without question, man, without even knowing, without even bracing nothing. You know what I mean? Um, I handled that. I feel like I handled it kind of in a way where I struggled, man. I really struggled. Thank
So,
God for therapy, though. Thank God for my therapist.
so let,
You
so let
know,
me ask this about struggle. You know, people see you, they know what you do as a profession.
yeah,
That misconception. And you know what I'm talking about. You
yeah.
know, so what does struggle look like for you, and how were you able to be vulnerable during that struggle?
I had moments of dark times, man. You talking about struggle? I had moments of dark times where I didn't have no lights on in the house. Where I just wanted to be in my own little place, my own little mind. Cried a lot. Um, man, I really had a very, very like tough time. Like, I wanted to quit football, man. Literally, I got to that point. Um, and that was my struggle when it was hard for me to keep weight on. You know what I mean? Like, the stuff like that. Like, it was. I knew then it was time to get help, because being able to play football, I need that weight. I need that strength. I need all those things to be able to go to the next level of my game. But at the same time, I wasn't getting that, so I had to find some help, and being able to talk to my therapist really, really, really helped me out, man. I mean, it just made
When,
me think much
when,
clearer.
when did you realize you needed to go to therapy? Because I'm sure, did you go through that men don't go through therapy type of situation? I'm a kind of, keep all this bad energy inside of me.
No, I knew I needed that help. Like literally, I knew I needed help because if I would have kept it to myself, I don't know. I probably would have did damage. Who knows? You know what I mean? Who knows what would have happened? I mean, literally, I didn't really want to get up and go, go work out. I didn't want to go up to the facility, man. Like it's like it was times that I was like, man, I need to shake this funk. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. So,
Um,
yeah, I'm gonna ask you a question, then I'm gonna kind of sway away from football, because
okay.
really don't have those conversations. So, did your teammates know that you were struggling? And if they did anybody step forward? I mean, you don't have to name any names, but I'm just saying to anybody to say, hey, I can see that you're going through something. I'm dealing with the same thing as well.
No, they did. Like I talked to them, man. I talked to them about what was going on, and they kind of like it helped me to be myself again, man.
Right,
Because they kind of picked me up in a sense of where like, man, whatever you need, we got you. What I mean, if you want to be able to talk, you know what I mean. Don't hesitate. Things like that kind of really helped me change my eye, my look on, how I need to be able to. That I know that people are there for me. You know what I mean. So it just that that itself right there gave me more motivation to keep going and keep doing what I need to do.
so I got a question for you.
Hmm.
How do you allow people in to where you can be vulnerable? That's always been my hard part. um, I can be strong for somebody else,
Right.
but I'm scared to allow somebody to be strong for me. How do you allow that to happen?
Honestly, being able to be around that person and hear that person's story first, um, pretty much you have to be vulnerable
Right,
in the beginning, but then once that person is able to give that in return,
right.
then it definitely hits home for you. Like that's a safe space for you. So it definitely opens up and give you more variables to be able to be like, hey man, this person, seems to me like this person is trustworthy of what's my worth, and you know what I mean, and just being able to be vulnerable.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
how I feel about it.
No, I mean that's facts that you say. I mean, you definitely help me out. If we ain't laughing or joking about something else, but when it gets serious, we get serious. So
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah. So I
Man.
definitely appreciate that.
Yeah, man. We're gonna turn things over, man. We got, our Dr. Ken, man, our psychiatrist, who serves as a medical director at the National Alliance on Mental Illness, the nation's largest grassroots mental health organization dedicated to the building better lives for the millions of Americans affected by mental illness, and a founding member of the Mental Health Coalition. We want to bring in Dr. Ken, man. Let's see if we can add him on here. And here we go. Let's see, man. He should be joining us in a minute, man. Let's see what he has to say.
Well, you got all the controls today, man.
Oh, there he is, Dr. Ken.
Hey, thanks, Coach.
Hey, brother. Hey, brother. I hope
I
you're all
just
right over
want to
there.
say I loved listening to two best friends talking about real matters of the heart and the mind. It's beautiful.
Yes, sir. It goes a long way, when you can be vulnerable with someone and be able to be open and be able to share some of the things that you struggle with, and the things that bother you. It makes things much easier, much lighter. You feel refreshed. Things start to open up.
Well, you both illustrate the idea that vulnerability is strength, and
I agree.
that's quite a novel notion for a lot of men.
I agree.
So I'm older than you guys. You can see I have a little gray hair. So my dad had very bad bipolar disorder. We couldn't talk about any of this. I
Mm,
became a psychiatrist to figure it out. I did
wow.
the most expensive, extreme way to make sense of it all. Then, of course, as my luck would have it, NAMI found me. And I just want to say, you know, you guys are advancing a conversation that is so helpful for so many people. Men in particular battle with this. This is a whole cultural phenomena.
Right.
Boys are told not to cry.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that is
That's
the
true.
thing. And so the two of you, I mean, you're just awesome in terms
Thank you.
of your leadership. And how did you two meet? What is the history of your friendship? Because we all need somebody we can be real with and talk about what's going on.
I'll start the first part, then Chris can chime in. We
Yeah,
had
there you go.
a friend, somebody from college that I went to who knows Chris very well. He thought that our energy would actually match.
Mm.
One thing I did was with Chris, and like I do with anybody, I take away the job. I could care less that he played football. We didn't even talk about football.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we may talk about maybe 2 seconds. We just started just vibing. Two people, each other, but we had a lot of similar. I think within the first conversation, it was supposed to be like maybe 30 minutes. It ended up being an hour or something. And we got vulnerable with each other. You know, and it was like, wow, you know, different ages,
Yeah.
but all the same stories and the same feelings, you know? And then from there, and it just kept going on and on and on. And Chris can kind of chime in from there.
Yeah, it was I mean, from the moment like we met and had the first conversation, it was kind of mutual, you know, everything. And I can remember from our first conversation, he really didn't talk about football, so that kind of gravitated to me because life itself is so big, man. You got to think about football is just it's something I love, but life is really important too as well. You know, that mental health part is really important. And when we talked about different life situations and conversations like that, it really touched home. You know what I mean? I was able to be me, be able to be Chris. You know what I mean? I was able to be Chris, not the guy in the helmet, not the guy in the uniform, but Christopher Hubbard. You know what I mean? The guy that my mother raised, my dad was there. You know what I mean? And just be able to be me. So that's just a little bit about our connection, man. And then we have our call-ins and check-ins each week. You know, no matter the day, no matter the time, and we always are checking up on each other. So it's important.
That up. So this is a regular weekly touch base.
Yeah, it is. It's with Chris and a few other people. And I respect what Chris does as a profession, but he knows if he takes too long to respond, I'm picking up the phone and I'm going to call him. Any call, you know. And it's not that I do want something. It's just men checking on men to making sure that we are okay. Like, how's your week been? You know, how's your son doing? Because a lot of people don't even realize he has a son, you know? Yeah. So I ask about how's your son doing? And we get into those type of conversations. To many, they may think it's small, but really it's actually a big thing. And we can hear in each other's voice if something is not right, which I absolutely love.
Well, you have a safe space for when you're struggling with something.
Right.
That's the key, right?
Right.
Because saying, hey, how the Browns doing, that's level 1 of intimacy. Actually talking about what's real, Mother's Day, how you're feeling, depression, and having somebody that you can check in on and connect with. There's an old expression, pain shared is pain halved. That was invented 3,000 years before psychotherapy.
Say that again, Dr. Ken.
I need that one.
Say that again,
Pain
Dr.
shared is pain halved.
I like that.
Yeah, so you share your pain, depression, loss, divorce, whatever it is, with somebody you love, right?
Right.
Your pain is lessened, but the other person isn't burdened. They're honored. They're privileged to have you share this intimate aspect of your life.
Right. So Dr. Ken, I have a question for you. You ready, Dr. Ken?
Bring it.
So what do they truly look? Chris is laughing because I'm getting ready to come.
I know you got some great questions, man. Literally.
So can you tell me, in your professional experience, what does it mean when people say it's okay not to be okay?
It's okay not to be okay, to me, means There is no health without mental health. And if you are living with anxiety, panic, depression, bipolar disorder, psychosis, addiction, it's okay to be dealing with that. A huge number of people are dealing with these things. This is an ordinary part of the human condition. And the idea of what you've connected on with each other is what people benefit from tremendously. Not everybody can have what you guys have, but everybody can strive for it to create more openness and intimacy in your relationships. And it makes a difference.
Right.
It really makes a difference. I take one best friend over 5,000 friends online, you know, one intimate friendship that you can actually talk about what's really happening for you makes a difference for people.
Mm-hmm.
True. That's very true. That's very true.
Wow.
Wow. That's real deep, man. That's real. I got a question for you too, Doc. All right. How can we start to see vulnerability as strength?
It's happening right now in front of me, right? The two of you, you're leading a conversation. So women seek help a lot more than men.
Right.
And that's our societal expectation, that women will do a lot of heavy lifting in the home front and they're willing to seek help. When I've done consultations, I was at an early psychosis clinic for people developing the first onset of things like schizophrenia. I would frequently have couples come in, loving couples. And I'd say to the mom, who are you talking to? She's, well, I have Janice, and I have Sally, and I have my cousin Sue, and I have my book group, and I have this, and I'm talking about my experience to everybody. Then I would say to the husband, and Mark, who do you have to talk to? Not you, Mark. Mark, the theoretical guy.
Yeah, because I was going to answer it.
All right. I'd say, Mike, let's change it to Mike. I'd say, Mike, who do you talk to? And then he looks at his wife and says, I only talk to her. And she feels burdened by that. She wants the husband to have more support because he needs other outlets. And I think you just have to stay with this idea that people are going through things themselves.
Yeah.
And to open yourself up allows yourself to be loved.
Right.
And to give love. And I think you guys have figured that out, and I'm inspired by it. I think it's beautiful. I have a couple friends like this. We talk all the time about what's real. We talk about goofy things too, but when it's real, we can talk about it.
Right.
That's important. And I think COVID changed some of this for some of us. I think mental health went from a they thing to a we thing in the pandemic because so many people were battling with isolation or loneliness or grief or loss, right? I think a lot of people realize this is really important.
Yeah, I agree. Dr. Ken, I got another question for you. I have homeboys, and we all have homeboys, you know, friends, associates. But I find myself now talking about what's going on with me if I'm struggling with some type of mental issue with Chris and a few other people versus the people who I thought were in my corner. Is that kind of where, you know, what's your thought upon that?
That's a great question. And you and Chris probably could give a good answer as me, right? You learn things about who can tolerate what. I had cancer when I was a young man. I was studying to be a psychiatrist, and I was surprised that a few people kind of faded away from me. And I noticed that, and I didn't, you know, have a big problem with them, but I noticed, okay, big vulnerability. This is a little too much for them. And it kind of altered some of our relationships, right? And I stuck with the people who could look me in the eye and say, you know, I see you're sick as hell and upset and depressed, and I'm going to be here for you. So I think, Mark, you're right. You're always reassessing how much intimacy or openness can people take. It's a great question. And this conversation about friendship is really important.
Doc, I think I got another question for you, man. I think this is for the moms, like the wives and sisters, people that's watching right now. what can they do to help like the males that's in their life that are struggling?
That's a good question. I'm going to turn around to the two of you, and I'm going to answer also. Like, you're leaders in this conversation. What have you observed that helps in conversations? Like, were you just naturally this way, or did the women who love you support you into this? I'm kind of getting there. I was kind of always
I'm gonna
in
be
the
honest.
realm anyway. I was kind of guy I was. But, what did you find helped you? Was it women, or was it friendship, or was it something inside of yourself, church? What was it that moved you to
All
connect?
for me, I'm sorry, Chris. For me,
Go ahead.
it was all the above.
Mm.
I saw what I was missing, and I didn't ever want a young boy to go through that ever again, where he felt devalued, not appreciated, or loved. So with my friends, females who are raising young boys, just to make sure that their children are doing okay. Because, as kids, sometimes we don't know how to express ourselves, or so I had this conversation yesterday with one of my friends, like, yo, how are your boys really doing? And be honest. And she had to be honest with me. She was like, I think they are struggling, So we began to talk a little bit more about what they can do.
I would say one other piece of advice. If your child is a regular at the school nurse, you mentioned a point, Mark, that kids might not be able to talk about their emotions. A lot of times kids show us more than they can tell us. So the school nurse, stomach upset, headaches, 1 in a million, there's a serious medical problem, so I'm not denying that. But
Right.
the vast majority of people are expressing emotional suffering because they can't quite articulate their pain.
Yeah.
So, just on the lookout, if your child is, regularly connecting with the school nurse, they may be communicating something. It may be hard for them to communicate with words. They do grow, and they will communicate with words if you model it for them.
Man, that's so true.
How are you with Creed?
With Creed, I communicate with him like when it comes down to problems he faced, whether he's outside, he may have fallen or something like that, and he's screaming like crazy. You know what I mean? He's screaming like crazy, and when those moments and times you're trying to figure out what is going on, how can I help my son out, and the best way is to be able to talk with him and be able to let him know, man, it's gonna be fine. Like we're gonna take care of what's going on, and we're gonna get through this together. And when that happens, and that comfort, when you comfort him and hug him, and let him know that this it might be a minor little something, little detail that may have happened. He got a scratch, a cut, boo boo on his leg. Once you're able to like hold him and talk to him and let him know that things are gonna be okay, then he's a whole different person. Just being able to have that one-on-one connection with my son and being able to just be who I am, that speaks volumes for me, because it's different now. I'm raising a little human being, you know what I mean? And I'm teaching him ways and showing him things to be able to become a man and be able to live and walk through life. It's a great, that's one of my best jobs ever, being a father, man. Literally.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Touche. I like that, though. That's good.
Love it.
Are there any questions?
Sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I said, were there any questions in the group?
Yes, let's see. I thought there was questions, but okay, we have one. It's from Sustainable Nas. Has your mother, aunt, grandma experience help you understand your male privilege?
No. The answer is no. grandmother's deceased. No, it's no. It's something that has been discussed years ago, but it's the generation. What happens in this house stays in this type of situation. So all I'm just going to do is say no. But in order for, and I'm just going to be very candid, in order for our relationship to work, there has to be some type of group or family therapy together. That's the only way it's going to work.
That's real. What? All right, dog. I got another one for you. I think this is my last one, man. What are resources? What resources do you recommend for man to check out?
So NAMI.org is the power player of the mental health space. We get about 13 million a year.
Wow.
And we have a community of people. You check out our blogs, it's men and women, non-binary people talking about their experience. It's first person beauty. And NAMI's very big on the first person experience. And, if you're interested in finding people like you. So I mentioned my dad had pretty bad bipolar disorder. I didn't know there was anybody else like us going through this. We were so alone. And I thought to myself, there has to be some other people but we couldn't talk about it. So I feel like NAMI's a great resource. I like the National Institute of Mental Health page. They do a lot of information. They fund a lot of research, billions of dollars of research, a lot of smart people over at the National Institute of Mental Health. And those are two great resources. And that's where I would start. Two great website resources.
Awesome.
So do you recommend everybody should have a therapist?
Me, Ken? No, but everybody should have somebody who loves them and listens to them.
Okay.
That's important.
Well, but I have an issue with that, Dr. Ken, and I'm going to tell you why.
Yes.
One of my homeboys, I was his therapist per se, loved him and cared about him.
Yeah.
2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, trying to talk him off that edge, and it went on for about maybe 3 or 4 months.
Yeah.
The result was he killed himself.
Wow.
So, when I'm very careful about who I talk to and what I say now, and I don't blame myself, but at that time I did. But now I'm very careful about the conversation that I have. And even it's weird that we're having this conversation. One of my homeboys, again, called me today about somebody else. And we know that this individual is struggling. You can see it. You can feel it. It's the whole energy. And the dude said to me, well, Mark, you do all this thing on mental health. Why don't you call him and have a conversation with him? So my response is, why don't you call him and have a conversation with him? Don't throw it on me. You notice all this stuff. So why aren't you doing that?
Right. You're a mental health leader, but one of the things you're hoping to do is to create more capacity.
Right.
So if a person has a mental health condition, I think they should get an evaluation for whether therapy would help them. I was answering the question, does every person need a therapist? I don't think everybody needs a therapist. If you have loving relationships and you're living without anxiety, depression, psychosis, addiction, I think, we don't have enough therapists for everybody to have a therapist, first of all.
Right.
That's one problem. And I think the idea that you can get help, you can have a therapist, has to be part of the conversation. It helps people. But you're absolutely right. It's very painful to be the only person attending to somebody. And I would not put yourself in that position. One of the things you do through love is encourage them to get professional help.
Yeah. Right. And I'm not going to do it anymore. What is it? Rosebud 717. If I messed your name up, I'm sorry. Said that they never heard men talk like this before. And my response is, men do talk. Just that we are just taking it to a whole different level now. But men will talk. They just have to feel that they're in a safe space, that they're not being judged, and that they can be vulnerable. So we do talk. It's just that we're just taking it to a whole different level. This time, so more men can actually speak up. You know,
be vulnerable. Yeah.
Yeah.
Be vulnerable. Yeah. Definitely be vulnerable, man.
That's right.
Man, we're going to continue to have talks like this, man. If you have anybody that you can communicate with to be able to sit and listen, sometimes that you just need an ear to just listen sometimes and just get whatever's on your chest that's out, and that'll help you feel a relief. I honestly do that a lot. You know what I mean? Just be able to vent and be able to be open and be able to be candid, man. It kind of helps a lot tremendously, you know. I got us another question. It's like it says, can us being vulnerable with each other stand in as therapy?
No.
No.
No. But
no,
it's still important and beautiful, right? But a mental health professional knows how to do specific things that are trained. You take years to learn how to approach certain problems, different kinds of psychotherapy, when medications might be useful. So a friendship is beautiful and an intimate sharing is beautiful, but it's not therapy.
Yeah, I agree with you, Doc.
It isn't, but you know, again, Chris creates a safe space.
Right.
Then I throw him off, but he still creates that safe space.
Hey, we definitely are trying to continue to bring people along and be able to be able to open their mind and be able to be themselves. That's really what it is. Be you, and at a higher level. And taking care of your mental health will proceed and prolong to get you that way. I really do think that is very true, and I hold weight to that.
I agree.
Man, I just want to thank the both of you guys, man, for being here to be able to have these conversations. Mark, Dr. Ken, I appreciate you guys, man, being able to take the time out of your day. I know, Mark, man, you know, hey, it's early. It's early for you. You know what I mean? But man, I appreciate the conversations. We'll be doing these conversations all month long. You can see these 1-2-1 conversations on Instagram at Mental Health Coalition. For more great resources and information on mental health, check out the National Alliance for Mental Illness website, NAMI.org. And today I want you all to check on one another. Please do, and see how they're doing and if they're really doing well. So, man, this was a great discussion, guys. I appreciate you both, and hopefully we can do this again.
Yeah, I appreciate it. This was good.
I appreciate you, Chris, and you, Mark. Thank you for having me.
Oh, no.
Hey, I appreciate you guys. I got to shout out my mom, man. I love you too, Mom.
Yeah, please
do.
Strong, please do.
Yeah.
Right now, ain't she?
No, not right now, but I see her on there, though.
I know she's watching.
Oh, yeah, man. Shout out to her, man. I love her. Yes, sir. Appreciate you guys, man.
All right, man.
All right, guys. Have a good one.